Hello and welcome to Not Without My Sister, the podcast where I, Rosemary McCabe, talk shit to my sister. Beatrice Is it too early for cursing to think in the intro? No, it's grand. Beatrice McCabe, that's you.
Mom would say it's always too early for cursing.
Well, it's always or never, like, just should never be cursing. Welcome to the new world for Not Without My Sister, where our Friday minisodes that you've come to know and love are now moving over to Patreon. So if you would like to get a longer minisode, an exclusive minisode, and episodes with no ads on them, head over to patreon.com/notwithoutmysister, and for $5 a month, that can be yours.
That sounded like an ad in fairness.
It was an ad.
Yeah, you just said no ads.
What?
You just said for no ads on the other one.
Yeah, this isn't going to be on the Patreon one. You're already paying.
All right, so here's an extra ad.
Today, inspired by a link that... Okay, I'll actually tell you what my life with Beatrice is like. I get this message from her and it goes, this is for the newsletter, right? Oh my God, we have a newsletter, our much neglected newsletter that we sent. I mean, it was my responsibility, so I hold up my hands to that, just like the time I killed all your plants. It's my fault.
Well, I'll write some articles for it. I'll write some bullet points for it this weekend and then we can send one out.
Oh, great. Can't wait. Beatrice sends me a link for the newsletter and it's literally just a link to Barbie wallpaper.
It's amazing.
But I was like, for what? For the news? Like, what?
For decorating your house.
No, I understand what wallpaper is for, you absolute head wrecker. But I mean, like, are we doing a newsletter on... Are we doing a newsletter on home decor?
For things I love. Here's something I thought was cool. Would like to share with people.
Am I going to send out an entire newsletter? Here's one thing Beatrice loves.
No,
bye-bye.
It was one of the topic... sorry, I should have been more specific.
You should have.
For the newsletter. Here is one item for the newsletter to get you started and motivated on compiling other items for the newsletter.
To get you started and motivated on compiling items for the newsletter?
I am motivated, but you have to just tell me what the timeline is.
I know,
It was supposed to be once a month, not once a year.
No, it's going to be twice a year now. We did one earlier in the year.
It's going to be once a month, once every 2 months.
We will share a link to our newsletter in the show notes if you're interested in our very sporadic. At least you know you're not going to be bombarded with emails.
Well, that's true. And you'll get really good decorating tips. It's actually amazing, this wallpaper. Like, very, very well done.
Yes, but inspired by that email that I got from my sister, I thought we'd talk about Barbies.
Because you
Sindy's.
And Sindy's.
Yeah, Barbies and Sindy's. I mean, Barbies, I think, is like the word Hoover has become a catch-all for those type of dolls. Although I guess Bratz dolls are different.
I mean, I would call it a Dyson, personally. No, I know what you mean. A Hoover. Yeah, get you.
But like when I'm playing...
Well,
when I think about playing with Barbies, I'm not thinking it's purely Mattel Barbie. I'm also thinking about playing with Sindy's, but I just categorize them all as Barbies.
I do not. No, I do not. Sindy is a Sindy is a Sindy.
Okay, what's the difference between a Barbie and a Sindy?
Sindy's are cuter. And they're much less... They made me much less hateful towards myself.
Do you think Barbie's made you hateful towards yourself?
Well, I feel like I spent a lot of time feeling resentful towards Barbie. Why was her waist so tiny? Why was her hair so long? I mean, I liked her, but why were her feet so annoyingly arched? Like,
I think Sindy had arched feet too,
she did, but not as arched. I'll take a picture of my Sindy's in the kitchen.
We should have actually got a Barbie and a Sindy so that we could compare and contrast. We'll upload a picture. I'm sure this exists on the internet anyway.
Yeah, you're probably right. But the other thing is Sindy's just chicer. Like, she's more retro also. I mean, obviously she never got updated, right? But even back in the day, Barbie was more like Baywatch, right? She was the Baywatch version of who?
I want you, I would like you to pick like a celebrity or an it girl or something. Like, is Barbie Paris Hilton and Sindy is Alexa Chung? This is what I want you to do. Well, you know what I mean? No, Alexa Chung is wrong, but you know what I mean? This is what I want from you.
Sindy is Christina Hendricks with slightly smaller boobs. But like
Christina Hendricks?
Yeah, but like more like a unique shape. Like, she wasn't all about being conformist to one body type.
Okay, but I suppose I'm thinking about more like style and ethos and personality.
I don't know. You answer this question.
Well, I'm just like spitballing here, Beatrice. I'm brainstorming. I'm throwing out ideas. I want you to bounce off me. My God, I should work in marketing.
You absolutely should not. That was atrocious. Spitballing.
That's what they say. I've watched movies. She's pressing her fingers to her eyes now, and we're only 2 minutes into.
Well, I don't know. I think that recently have particularly loved. What's that Instagram account? The Sindy Instagram account.
This is your obsession. You're
yeah.
supposed to have the research.
Well,
done for
I don't.
your
I don't
obsession,
know.
your Instagram obsession.
I don't know. Hold on, let me look it up. I don't know what it's called, but it's an amazing Instagram account, which we can share it.
Well, let's give a bit of background, right? Because growing up, you had a ton of Barbies, and then I inherited your love of Barbies, and then got even more Barbies.
No, do you know what? You were not alive when I started playing with Barbies. Let me start again.
Okay.
Growing up, I had a ton of Sindys.
Okay.
Okay?
Very sensitive.
Then Barbies were layered on because Sindys were rarer and not as common, right? They were not as easy to find.
Here
People
we are
would
now.
gift Barbies.
Sindy snobbery. No, not as common.
People would gift Barbies. I don't think people gifted Sindys as much. Then I think Sindy got discontinued, or Sindy changed her name from a C to an S, which I always hated. Right? She was Sindy, and then she became Sindy.
What was Cindy's boyfriend called? Paul.
Was it?
Yeah, and Barbie had Ken.
God bless poor Paul. There's probably a picture of him somewhere. God bless the two of them. They were now the epitome of dud boyfriends. They did absolutely nothing. Absolute lunks.
Sorry, what were you expecting these inanimate dolls to do?
Well, I particularly like G.I. Joe. I always wanted to pair G.I. Joe up with Sindy. He was extremely articulated, physically articulated.
Yeah.
His eyes could do extremely shifty things by flicking left and right with that little switch on the back of his head. Yeah. And he had a buzz cut with actual hair versus Ken's extremely gross
Painted
plastic
on.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
His coif.
And Paul was kind of blondie, wasn't he?
I can't remember Paul. He was an insipid nothing. Barbie, that was the thing. Actually, that's the funny thing about Barbie and Sindy. They weren't about relationships. They were, we'll get to that part for you. Okay? For me, they were about big gangs of girls hanging out in their Sindy house doing girl things. Like,
You are actually so Taylor Swift right now. It was about girls.
It was.
Hanging out together. So
Taylor
annoying
Swift doesn't
to me.
have a Dublin accent. But it's funny how when you're trying to do your normal accent, it sounds American, but when you're doing an American accent, it sounds Dublin.
Go on.
I'll tell you who I did love though. Skipper. I never got a Skipper.
Who's Skipper?
Her little sister.
Cindy's little sister?
Yeah. No, Barbie's little sister. I never got one.
Oh, I think I had a Skipper at one
Yeah,
point.
I think you did. I never got one. And you know what I saw recently when I was using the internet looking for gifts for my nieces? I saw Nurse Barbie with 2 tiny babies. I actually just almost bought it for myself. It was amazing.
I'm surprised you didn't.
It was amazing.
Surprised you didn't buy 2 so you could have Nurse Barbie with 4 tiny babies.
Oh my God, they were so adorable. They were so cute. I was like, this. I mean, I almost also bought myself Barbie's hair salon with the Barbie in the hair salon chair. Surprisingly,
Yeah.
and it was a thing. It was good.
My problem with all these things though now is you often, like if you buy the hair salon, you have to buy the Barbie separately.
I think the Barbie was in the hair salon.
Oh,
That's
was
my
it?
point. Yeah. So I was like, okay, hold on. Let's take a second here. What am I? I genuinely thought about buying it for myself, and then I was like, what am I? I had to flash forward in my mind to what am I going to do when this Barbie arrives? I assemble it. And there's going to be like the Hobbit house out there.
I was just
that I
about
make
to say,
fun
your
of. I
husband
know.
clearly doesn't have these qualms.
He doesn't.
And he's
He
like,
doesn't.
what am I going to do with those 3 Hobbit houses when they arrive? He doesn't ask himself those questions.
Maybe I should just buy it and give it to one of my kids. I mean, the baby probably play with it, but the pieces are all pretty small. And I also don't want to be perpetuating these like concepts of extremely arched feet.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're thinking about worrying about gender stereotypes, probably buying your boy a Barbie is better than not buying him any girl toys. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Rosemary, they're not called girl toys.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway,
Traditionally considered girl toys.
yeah. Well,
you know what I
apart from
mean?
anything else, I was trying to explain to the kids the other day that pink was originally a boy's color and that they shouldn't be calling it girls' colors.
Yeah, I tried to explain that to our boys as well. They didn't care.
Well, I tried to explain to them and they're like looking at me for it. They asked the question and then like as soon as the question mark has exited their mouths, they just walk away.
No.
So I gave up trying to explain. But the other thing I just actually put 2 and 2 together now myself is I've now mentioned Barbie's arch feet how many times?
Is this because we have flat feet? So this is your hang up.
Ultimately flat feet. I just
Yeah, so do I.
realised this. I literally have Fred
No
Flintstone
arches.
feet. None.
You know when people say you fall in arches, I can't even say that because mine were never up to begin with.
I don't think they're fallen either. They're just
They're
non-existent.
like dads. They're like flippers.
His feet seem very heavily weighted to the ground. That's what mine are like, right? Right, and that's what mine are like. And I have done all those cramp-inducing exercises that Mom shared with me from the time she was. In the
You try to
hospital.
pick up the pencil with your toes and
Yeah,
stuff.
I can't do them. The minute I do it, my feet just go into absolute spasm. I wore those orthotics that were agony. And like,
You know, I got
Agony.
orthotics. Like I got prescribed orthotics when I had my shin splints, and I think I wore them on about 3 runs. Got The worst blisters. I mean, you know, Beatrice. Even worse than the worst blisters that you've seen on
Rosemary,
my feet.
another thing you have in common with Maeve Madden. She was a foot model and you could have been a foot model.
Well, no, my feet are actually a bit hairy. But anyway, well, I could wax.
I'm sure you could, yeah.
Anyway, and then I contacted them and was basically like, I want a refund. And I think your mum was really annoyed because like, you have to get them prescription made and stuff. But I was literally like, I cannot walk in these. Like, I can't walk in them. They were given to me for like to help me run. Lol. I've never ran again now after that.
Well, I have to show you mine. Mine were rock hard. I don't know how.
They are rock hard. Mine were rock hard as well. I don't know. They're like my night guard. They're like rock hard.
Yeah, we're like, well, why did you not tell me this? I would have sent mine back.
Oh, well, I didn't.
They're really expensive.
I don't even
as well.
think we had this conversation. Yeah, they were really expensive. But sorry, back to, because like one of the things that has got, like one of the accusations that has been leveled at Barbie and the makers of Barbie from as far back as I can remember is that it's like an unrealistic beauty standard.
Oh my God.
But I don't think that ever occurred to me. Like, aside from her arched feet, did she really make you feel bad about yourself? Because I don't think I ever really related her to.
No, I don't think she made me feel bad, but I preferred Sindy. I found her more relatable. But I'm saying I don't think I had all these like profound thoughts of like, this is unfair and this is, you know, perpetuating, etc., etc. I more was like, this one has a friendlier face.
She has a roundier face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friendlier, roundier, bigger. She's more actually like a cartoon, where Barbie was more like, honestly, a bit sexier, like a bit more like, if I was to say who designed this, a man or a woman, I'd say a man designed Barbie and a woman designed Sindy.
I wonder if that's true. We should look that up.
I actually don't think it is. Wasn't it a woman designed Barbie?
No idea.
I think it's a woman. So,
sorry to interrupt, but I saw Stephanie Yeboah, a woman I follow on Instagram, has a jumper dress that just says CARBIE instead of Barbie. I don't think I ever thought about Barbie as a real person. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I ever thought real women don't look like Barbie, or Barbie's a very thin woman. I just thought of her as a doll. I didn't think of her as comparable to human beings. You know what I mean? So when people were like, you know, when I started reading kind of teenage girls magazines and they're like, did you know that if Barbie was real, her waist wouldn't be wide enough to hold her ribs and stuff? I was like, it's ridiculous. Barbie doesn't have ribs. She's a doll.
like, isn't that the same as Kim Kardashian? I suspect Kim Kardashian doesn't have ribs. And she's still upright.
Isn't the rumour that she had like 4 of them removed?
But that's my point, but she's still upright. So obviously it's not true about Barbie.
Well, maybe it was like that. Oh no, you know what it was? I mean, you're so literal sometimes. It was that it was that her proportions were such that she wouldn't be able to hold up her head. The weight of her head, because her head was so much bigger than.
That's like me. My head's massive.
Yeah, but the rest of you is fine, like well able.
Dare you?
I mean, like, listen, I have no such worries. My neck is practically like it's like a rugby player. It's practically the same width as my head. You at least have a slender neck, but like you have enough.
Okay, you've made your point. Okay, I think everybody understands what you're saying. There's a framework here that's fine to support this head size. That's what you're saying. I got it. We all got that. Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so listen. No, I mean you're trying to take this down a very political avenue. No, I wasn't overly worried about Barbie. Now, let's go back to the part that I was. How did you play with your Barbies? If you're making fun of me for saying that mine were all girlfriends living in, like they were the Golden Girls, or they were the version of Friends, but the guys weren't boys across the road. Yeah,
across the corridor. Did you ever watch Friends?
Actually, very rarely. And I was reading about the reunion this week, thinking, should I watch this? I'm like, no, zero interest.
Well, the only interest I have is in watching it so that I can see what people are talking about. But otherwise, I don't care about it. You know what I mean?
Also, James Corden drives me nuts.
Oh my God, I hate James Corden. I saw somebody on Twitter the other day going, can somebody please tell TV execs in America that everyone hates James Corden?
But
Stop
they obviously
putting him on
don't.
things. Well, there was recently, anyway, this is a total time. There was recently a whole thread that went around on Reddit of people going, I used to work with him and he was so terrible to his staff, blah, blah, blah. Like really long, and loads of people corroborating it. But then again, like anonymous people. So it could have been his, like, the boy he bullied in school.
Rosemary, I don't like to perpetuate bullying, online bullying.
Okay. So how I played with my Barbies. Well, I liked to imagine my Barbies all had very high powered jobs.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. No, Beatrice. My Barbies, all they ever...
I thought you were serious.
All they ever did was get boyfriends, lie down with them and rub up against them. That was basically it.
Well, that's all they could do because they had those like permanently plastic crotches.
I know, but the thing is, I think like if I could go back in time now and teach myself that there was more to sex than penetration. Because I was always like, I was very frustrated by the fact that they had these plastic crotches. Never occurred to me to go, maybe Barbie might like a nice 69. Maybe she'd like a bit of frottage. Maybe she'd like some light nipple stimulation.
What about just fucking massage, Rosemary?
Well, yeah, but I used to just lie Barbie and Ken was always missionary. Ken was always on top.
Rosemary, what's wrong with that?
I mean, nothing. I actually don't think Barbie's legs could separate enough for her to go on top. They're too close together. She'd have to be doing the splits. You know what I mean?
I actually think I had a Barbie at one point where her legs did open out.
Oh, probably horse riding Barbie. Anyway, listen, I have to say, so Barbie's sexcapades aside, which I only did when I was on my own, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, but I was going to say, my friends used to love coming to our house because we had the Barbie Dreamhouse. And then I think at one point I had the Barbie camper van, and I also had a Barbie horse and carriage. I don't know where any of those are now.
Horse and carriage?
Pretty sure I had a horse and carriage. And I had a motorbike. Did you? We still have the motorbike because I found it.
We definitely had that horse. Oh, that was my horse, by the way, just in case you started trying to think
gone.
about it.
No, I think
what the
the
hell?
horse-
Where would the horse be gone to?
I don't know. I didn't find the horse in the attic. That's all I'm saying.
And I had that rock pool that I used to put them out in the garden. They used to swim in that rock pool.
Don't know where that is.
Are you joking?
No.
Well, I mean,
I remember that rock pool though, but I don't know where it is now.
I'm having it all
Sorry.
shipped over here, or else I'm giving it to somebody.
Having it all shipped over here to what end, Beatrice? So you can put it
give
next
to
to Don's
somebody.
Hobbit houses?
To give to somebody.
I mean, you could
play
probably
with.
just fork out the $80 for a new Barbie Dreamhouse.
Excuse me. They're $299, and I did just fork one
Are
out.
they?
Yes, they're extremely expensive, or $100 and something, and they look basically exactly the same. Although nowadays they seem to come with lots of furniture, which they did not come with.
Yeah, ours didn't have any furniture, and ours was meant to come. Do you remember with the elevator?
Yeah,
But it never had it.
That was very annoying. Well, anyway, I'm going to see if Mom and Dad will ship it over to me, or give it to one of my friends.
Beatrice, I'm telling you, I went up to the attic. Was it about a month before I came over here? Under your instructions, because you were like, I want my Sindy's. Where are they now? Still in the drawer in the kitchen?
Excuse me, they're in the drawer in the kitchen. Yes.
Yet you haven't taken a single Sindy photo for Instagram. This is what you were saying you
I'll
wanted.
take one after this.
They have terrible clothes. You need to make them some new clothes.
Their
Provide
clothes
them
are
some new
extremely
clothes.
stylish. They just look a little bit.
Dishevelled.
Yeah, they look
a bit rough.
They look a bit like they've just been frothed.
Too much frottage.
But anyway, yes.
They're like, all this missionary sex has ruined the back of my hair. That's actually a very real worry. Anyway.
You're right.
Yeah, if you've curly hair, you'll know.
Well, and then anyway, I mean, I should ask Mom to take a picture of all my Barbies and all my Sindys, because, and I'll never forgive you for this, you went at them with the scissors and hacked all their hair off.
God, I didn't know what you were going to say. Like, following on from my obsession with them not having genitals, you went at them with the scissors.
No, you hacked off all their hair. You know what? I used to
Yeah,
actually
did you?
get okay, I'm really annoyed about that. I still don't forgive you. But I used to get really annoyed that it felt like a real double standard. Why did Ken actually have plastic formed undies and Barbie didn't?
Our Ken had plastic.
No, he had the molding. He
Oh,
had
you're
the
right, of
molding
Y
of
fronts.
Y fronts.
The
Look,
Y fronts.
just like that. Yes.
You call yourself an illustrator.
Yes.
She just drew the most rudimentary pair of Y fronts.
Excuse me. Yeah, he had those Y fronts. And why did Barbie not have undies on too? Like, why did Barbie have to parade around nude, but he got to protect his modesty? That used to genuinely really annoy me. Actually, more than anything else, it just annoyed me I couldn't take his undies off. Quite genuinely.
So you did have an interest in sexualizing
in anatomy.
Barbie and
At
Ken.
one point, I thought I might be a doctor.
Oh my God, Beatrice could have been a doctor if only she'd known what was under Ken's Y fronts.
Exactly.
All along, the mystery
You see,
of Ken's Y
actually, it
fronts.
makes sense. I could have been a doctor if I could have taken his clothes off, but because I couldn't, I became a fashion designer.
You could have been a model if you'd had your jaw broken in 10 places.
You bitch. 10 places.
Oh my God, actually, I think they were talking about doing that to my jaw the other day, about like, why do I grind my teeth? I have to go to the endodontist and see if there's a problem with I was like, I'm not getting anything done. It's
Just
grand.
get some Botox in your jaw.
I know, that's what I was saying to her.
Literally, that's all you need to do. Let's see if Mom replied to that question about is the
Oh yeah,
Barbie
but
Dreamhouse
sorry
safe
to
and
carry on
sound?
from, I went up to the attic, I went to get your Cindy's, there was neither sight nor sound of that Barbie Dreamhouse.
Oh, it's been read. It was read 5 minutes ago.
Oh.
Excuse me, is it accurate that my Barbie Dreamhouse is missing? It has been read and there is zero réponse. Hello.
No, don't actually write to her. I'll write to her and just ask her something else and I bet she'll write back to me.
All right.
See who's the fave.
Okay. Jeez, what do we know? My God, if she does this now, I'm going to be raging. Absolutely ragers.
She sent me a picture of the dog, so I just wrote back and said, oh, a dote, is she enjoying the sun? Let's see now. Who does she love more? Me and my inane dog questions, or you and your very serious, where's my Barbie Dreamhouse question? Oh, it's been
Is she
read.
typing back to you already?
She's not typing yet, but
Those
she's
bubbles
online.
pop up now. I'm actually getting a lisp of rage. If those bubbles spat all over
No,
myself.
hang on. She's online. She's not typing, but you know it takes her a while.
I'm
She's probably
telling you
working
now.
up. Oh, she's gone offline again.
Okay, good.
What a bit. You know, she's probably mowing the grass. She's probably like, I am mowing
Okay,
the grass.
we'll see what she says. All right. So anyway,
So
back
Barbie
to
Dreamhouse, you know
Yeah,
what?
what?
If you're somebody we know, I mean, maybe we gave it to Aisling Finnegan. I'm trying to think, like, is there anybody a little bit younger than us who we would have gone, oh, we'll lend them the Barbie Dreamhouse for a while, or we'll give it to them when we were too old for it. So if you're listening and you got our Barbie Dreamhouse, Beatrice is in a rage and wants it back.
Oh God, I'd love to have another. I wish I had a little girl to have a Barbie Dreamhouse. I wish you were having a little girl. You're a failure.
I keep telling Brandon we'll have to have another baby just in case we could have a girl. But then if I had another boy, I'd be raging.
Why?
Oh, too many boys because I'm surrounded by peen.
Maybe one of my little
Which
boys
is what
would be.
I brought this on myself, you know that?
Maybe one of my little boys would be a fashion designer, and I should get the Barbie now to encourage it.
Well, actually, our little boy who is going to be 7, well, he's like 6.5. He announced the other day that he wants Barbie for his birthday. And he was
Let
like,
me buy it. When is his birthday?
November. And he was like, can I have the Barbie? Basically last year when we got I think it was the Target or the Walmart toy catalogue. Do you remember that came in through the door? Mm-hmm. We showed it to them.
As opposed to where else would it come in?
We showed coming through your arse. We showed it to them as a way of going, like, I wonder if there's anything in here that they're going to point out that they want, because we had no ideas for them for Christmas, right? So we said, why don't you have a look at this and mark out some of the toys that you'd like for Santa? Well, Beatrice, we came back. There was a mark on every single last page. But he did announce that he wanted this Barbie. I think it was like a Barbie picnic set. So it had like a Barbie and a camper van and a picnic bench. And
Can
blah,
you
blah,
blame
blah.
him?
It's
Sounds
very
amazing.
Cute. Yeah, it was very, very cute. But then he forgot about it and he wanted other things. So we didn't end up getting it for him. Because he never mentioned it again. But he has now revived his love for Barbie. But actually our boys, they are very into, they each have a stroller that they love to like push around.
They do. I forgot about that. That's cute.
They used to go out the front of the house in the last house and run up and down the path pushing their stroller with their teddies in it. One of them, I think Finn has a dolly. No, William has a doll as well. I don't know what her name is.
Well,
that
we
they like
lived
to
in
put in the
Dallas.
stroller.
I went on Facebook Marketplace and bought a gorgeous looking doll's house.
Where is it?
I gave it to one of the girls in the office because they all just kept breaking all there was a family who kept losing their limbs, and then the furniture kept getting broken. I was like, it was not being loved, but it was beautiful. I can't remember who I gave it to, but it was very, very nice.
You know what I'd love? Sylvanian families.
Oh God, they still exist. They're in Target.
No. I know they still exist. Brandon had never heard of them, so they obviously weren't really big. I mean, not because Brandon would be the arbiter of what's big in Fort Wayne, but
Chipmunks in the world of chipmunk toys.
But I always wanted Sylvanian families, and I don't think we were allowed to have them because they were too expensive.
I mean,
did you have any?
No.
Yeah. I think they were. I think they were considered dear. You know what I mean at the time.
Barbie was dear. I'm sure it was more.
Barbie
like,
was dear.
It was probably more like Rosemary. You had every single thing in the world you ever needed. You didn't need Sylvanian families on top of it. Plus, you lived in nature. You could just gone out to the back garden and dropped something.
Oh my God, I was telling somebody the other day about how. Do you remember we found that little leveret, the baby hare? We called it penknife. Do you remember we found it up in the up in the cemetery because you were looking for your penknife. And we found this little baby hare. And we brought it home. We should have left it there, but it was stuck, wasn't it? It was stuck under a rock, and we brought it home, and it died after a couple of days.
Oh,
it was very cute.
Terrible. What did it die of?
It just died. I don't know. We probably were feeding it like something it wasn't supposed to have, or
like the budgie that you had.
Beatrice, like the budgie, the hamster. Let's not even get into it.
The poor budgie that you were like, he's stuffed. I've given him all the food, and then when Dad went round afterwards after the budgie had died, discovered that your budgie food carrier was full only of the empty husks of food.
But that fool budgie shouldn't have put them back in the thing. I mean, he was brought it on himself. Do you remember? But do you remember we found him dead on Christmas morning, and Dad suggested putting him on top of the Christmas tree? It's a wonder we ended up as well as we did. She's laughing, just like for the listeners. She's looking horrified and laughing her head off.
Terrible.
It was so bad.
It's terrible. That is actually terrible. I can't imagine if one of my kids, like, pet died and me making jokes about throwing it to the top of the Christmas tree. Like, seriously. I had a Barbie on the top of the Christmas tree. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. With a little, like, skirt on. I think they still have that in the Christmas box.
It still goes on the top of the Christmas tree, doesn't it?
No, I think Dad's gone back to that star that you made in mechanical engineering or something.
I used to wrap... such a nerd. I used to wrap it in the Christmas lights and put it at the top, because eventually I was just like, why would this Barbie not be an angel? Barbie is an angel. I put her on the top of the Christmas tree in a white crochet dress.
My Barbies were no angels.
I didn't crochet that dress.
You.
Oh. Your Barbies were no angels.
But yeah, my friends used to be so jealous. I think just of the sheer number. But I also think that we maybe got some Barbies from our cousins, because we had something like 38 Barbies at the time.
I don't think we got any from our cousins.
But did we not?
literally every single one of them has had its hair, some portion of its hair hacked off by you. They're not even
or died
they're not even things you could pass on now to other people. They actually need to go in the bin, and I can't put them in the bin. They look absolutely desperate. They look like, oh, do you remember I had that doll as well? Do you remember Gem and the Misfits?
Gem and the Holograms.
Gem and the Misfits, yeah. And I had
Gem and the Holograms, no?
Oh yeah, Gem and the Holograms.
There's a movie now.
There's been a movie, like there've been.
Oh, sorry.
A long time ago, and there was a TV show and everything. It was desperate.
Yeah.
Do you remember? And she was always just. She never really caught on. I mean, maybe she did because there was a TV show and a movie about her. But then when I bought the doll,
she never caught on. Well, there was a movie and a TV show.
Well, when I bought the doll, it was so enraging because she was a good inch too tall for the Barbie Dreamhouse. You're like, at least if you're going to make a doll that is similar in concept, like, why wouldn't you think to yourself, let's make her compatible with this other massive thing? Because
that's the whole way Steve Jobs made Apple, but just before it was Apple. Like, there was exact approach that they took. Like, Apple should not be compatible with anything else.
Okay, but Apple was an extremely cool new platform that didn't exist. Gem was just the same as a Barbie, but she had a streak of pink hair, and she was too tall for you then to use her with any of the other stuff that you already had. So I was like, well, I'm not going to spend any more money on any other of these Gem things, holograms.
Very sensible child.
Well, I mean, it was just so annoying because she always had to be sitting down, or her neck always had to be bent over in the house.
Oh. Like the bent neck woman from that horror show. What was it called?
I feel like I'm a bent neck woman myself. I need to go and do some exercises. I've got a desperate posture.
Maybe you should go to the chiropractor. Brandon's off to the chiropractor later this week. He's got a sore neck.
I don't have a sore neck. I just have really, really bad posture from carrying
the
4
chiropractor
kids
will help
around.
you.
Really?
I don't know. I think so.
I don't think so. I think I need to do some core strengthening exercises and use my Maeve Madden subscription.
Did you ever buy resistance bands, by the way? Because I got a set I was going to give you.
No, I didn't. Give them to me so I could put them on the
shelf. I think your Maeve Madden
other
subscription is probably gone now.
No, it isn't. It renews every month. Oh, and every month it even gives me a warning. Do you want to subscribe? Do you want to renew this? And I think yes, I do, because this is the month when I'm going to get into this. The thing is, I was even thinking about this yesterday. I was like, I always imagine. I mean, I don't dislike exercise. The act of exercise is quite enjoyable when I'm actually doing it. But I always just think I'm going to look better than I do. And I always look atrocious. Like, I want to look cute while I'm exercising for myself.
I understand. That's why I used to hate gyms with mirrors.
I want to be able to take a glowing selfie and be like, just pushed myself through a 1K.
Just do it. Hashtag just did it. Lol.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I used to love hip hop dancing, it was because I used to do it in Angel Street where there were no mirrors. And then I remember going back to Jane Shortall when she was doing it at the Temple Bar Music Centre. It was in this very hot room full of mirrors. And I remember being like, oh my God, I thought I was a good dancer. You're like, when you can't see yourself, you're having a great time.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I mean, you were a good dancer.
No, I was no,
you
not
were
this
good.
time I wasn't.
I also find mirrors incredibly distracting because I can't follow myself. Like, my brain is trying to follow what they're doing. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. You can
and
also
then I end
see
up
yourself.
but then I end up going the opposite direction. Like, it's hard enough to follow them. Like, the instructor.
Well, you're not very coordinated though. I actually have no idea whether you're coordinated or not. I've never done. We should do an exercise class together. Not just Pilates. We should do like aerobics or something fun that we could slag each other about afterwards. Or like burlesque, like I did with my friends Emma and Claire. We had such a laugh because we were all so crap except for Claire.
Absolutely not, thanks. Burlesque and pole dancing are on my list of things that I would just be mortified to do. I was thinking yesterday, I was reading a thing today in the New York Times it was an article about this woman saying, it was a long article, and she was basically saying, like, every point in my life I never appreciated till I look back, and I think all the things that I wished I had, I was in full possession of. I just never appreciated them, right? And she's like, so now, she's only in her 40s or 50s, and she's like, so now I look at my neck, and having read about a year of, people hating their neck on Zoom, she's like, I love my neck. I appreciate my neck, and I'm going to appreciate myself, and blah, blah, blah. The comments, vitriolic. After a year of a pandemic with 600,000 people dead and this and that and the other, it's great that you have time to be worrying about your neck. I'm like, okay, lads. Like, there was nothing actually bad. Like, you don't need to read this article, But yeah. I thought her point was actually quite good because it's true. I look back and I'm like, I was thin. You sent me a picture the other day. I was thin. I was this. I was that. But like, in the moment, never. Like, right now, I put on my shorts this morning. I was like, my legs look desperate. They do. They do.
Well,
but in 20 years, I'll look back and be like, my legs looked better then than they do now. They'll never look this good again.
That's depressing.
No, it's not. It's great news. So yes, we should go and do that because it doesn't matter how bad we look is my point. We'll have good fun. Well, I think the Pilates will be good.
The last time I did aerobics, it was with Dave from California. I don't know. I mean, how many classes did I do with him? I managed to talk about it a lot.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah, I couldn't walk for about a week afterwards.
I do enjoy things like that though, where they're quick moving.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Anything else that like, I mean, I really didn't enjoy going to the gym as much
But
because
you
it
liked
was
that
very
one Maid
slow.
Laden thing you did you?
I did.
For that reason.
I did, yeah. It was over before I knew it. It was like I didn't have an awful lot of time to think about myself. You know?
Do you think that now, so like, I remember when we had Barbies, right? Just bring it back to the Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
She used to like, there was like aerobics Barbie. I wonder, is there like weightlifting Barbie now? Like, can you buy Barbie with a weights bench?
I doubt it.
Because like weights are kind of in now. Do you know what I mean?
I'm sure there's aerobics Barbie with like...
Yeah, definitely. But that was very 1980s, like aerobics. So I'm wondering if there's now like Pilates Barbie, yoga bar, Peloton Barbie. Oh my God. Listen, there's a business idea. There's a good tie-in. Peloton Barbie. Barbie with her own, very own at-home Peloton. Only $2,000 and then $40 per month. I actually keep getting emails. Speaking of your Queens Don't Quit emails, I keep getting emails from Peloton saying, like, we miss you. We haven't seen you in a while. I'm like, stop
You
bullying
haven't been on
me.
your Pilates? You haven't been on your thing for a while?
No, I haven't. I'm worried about my crotch.
Barbie the Pilates instructor.
Oh, there you go.
No, maybe this is somebody just putting her in the position. Assuming the position. I don't know. We'll have to look it up later. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So what did you think? Like, did you never play with G.I. Joe? Back to the men. Did you never play with G.I. Joe?
I don't remember having G.I. Joe.
We didn't have G.I. Joe. The Smiths had G.I. Joe. Our cousins had G.I. Joe.
Oh, no. I mean, I think by the time, like, I know I keep saying this, but by the time I was going over to Smiths, they weren't playing with dolls anymore. Do you know what I mean?
No, sorry. When I was over at
but they
Smiths, nobody was playing with dolls except for me.
They were just too busy running around cursing at each other. That's all I remember.
And making chocolate fudge
So
cake.
jealous. It's like, I'm not even allowed to say shut up at the dinner table.
So anyway, now that you have a child coming soon.
Yeah.
And, well, unfortunately, you do know that it's a boy. But if it were a girl, would you feel comfortable giving your child a Barbie?
Yeah, I mean, I think regardless of gender, like the fact that I'm going, Finn wants one for his birthday and I'd happily get him one.
Yeah, but that's, like you said, that is the ultimate, like, gender neutrality or gender freedom.
Yeah, but also, like, I wonder, is it more damaging to show boys this vision of, like, super sexy Barbie? Because it makes them think as well that that's a norm of sorts. You know what I mean? Yes, I mean, I think if I had a little girl and she really wanted a Barbie or a Barbie Dreamhouse or whatever, well, I'd get you to go to the Barbie Dreamhouse now that you've told me they're very expensive. But I think, I don't think I'd have a problem getting her a Barbie. But I think I would just try to encourage her to play with the variety. I mean, it's such a typical thing to say, but you also can't, because I've seen with your kids, you're like, I'm going to buy them this amazing wooden thing, and then all they care about is the like plastic crap or the Nintendo Switch or whatever. You know what I mean? That you think you're going to buy them like beautiful bespoke toys made in like downtown Fort Wayne, and then all they actually care about is like Pokemon.
But you're a better to-be parent than I ever was, because you've already made statements like, there shall be no sugar, there shall be no devicing. Where I was like, well, I'll try and limit the device time, but, everything in moderation. Although now I'm like, thank God for devices, but they definitely have them way too much.
Yeah, I think when I said there'll be no devicing, it was before I'd actually spend a lot of time around kids.
Backtracking.
And now I realised, yes, there should be some devicing, but hopefully not a lot. But actually, Brandon and I were talking about that the other day, that we were like, how do you control your kid, like your tiny baby being exposed to TV when you have two other kids? You don't. Do you know what I mean? That they're watching TV, you're not going to be like, I have to take the baby out of the room.
Rosemary, your baby's not in isolation. You've got 3 kids in the room. You don't.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
but why would you have one rule for your baby and another rule for the other 2?
Well, because I think if we didn't have the other 2 kids, I would try not to have the baby looking at screens for the first couple of months, because I just don't think it's great for their development, from what I've read. But like, we do have other kids, so I'm like, well, we're not going to be like turn off the TV when the baby's in the room. You know what I mean? So it's like, we're just going to do what we do, and the baby's going to be there. We're going to do what we do with the addition of a baby. You know what I mean? Go say whatever you want to say.
No, I'm just more thinking, like, I feel like you're overestimating what a baby in the first few months of its life can do. The baby will be lying on his back in whatever place you put him, listening to whatever noise and music is around him. He won't be able to look at the screen or sit up or watch the TV.
Sitting in his vibrating thing.
Yeah. And like, he'll be facing whatever you put him facing. So
me non-stop.
Yeah, so if you don't put him facing the TV at that age, you won't be able to watch it.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean?
I was telling Brandon yesterday that I'm going to talk to the baby. Oh my God, there's going to be so much, because I want this baby to have an Irish accent for a bit.
But then you just need to bring the baby over here, because you're not going to be able to do that.
You know what? I mean,
what's that?
Yeah, you're not going to like what I'm about to say, but sometimes I genuinely ask myself, why do I like hanging out with you?
Trust me, your intro was you are mean to me. That was the intro you did. You said, here I am. Welcome to our podcast where I rag on my sisters. And
No,
I can't even remember which
no,
set.
I said I, Rosemary Cape, talk shit with my sister.
Oh, you said to my sister.
No.
Oh, maybe.
Well, maybe two, but I mean like we
misheard.
talk shit to each
Oh,
other.
well, I took that as you being mean to me and I was hurt.
No, I didn't mean talk shit about. I meant
was
we
so
both
hurt.
sit here and talk shit in general.
No, I do not. I'm
You
hurt.
were not hurt. Please.
I'm hurt I take umbrage for multiple reasons. A, I took it
the
as you
Derby
talking to
there.
me.
Oh.
B, I do not talk shit. So those two reasons are multiple, several, two. A couple of
Have you
reasons.
lost your grasp of the English language? Those two reasons are multiple, several, too.
Do you know that I don't know that I've ever had a great grasp on it. Do you know that I only recently, like in America, because they're much more literal, or you know what, maybe they're not much more literal, and maybe I have no grasp of the English language, you're right. But like, I never realised that a couple of things meant two.
But I think in Ireland we use that very
Okay, good.
loosely. Yeah.
Because here they mean a couple, they mean
Yeah.
two. And several then means several.
Yeah,
Where I use those interchangeably.
I've had very annoying moments where I'm like, oh, like in a couple of minutes, and Brandon's like 2 minutes. I'm like, why are you being so weird? Like, just in a while, give me a break. I mean, I'm like,
okay,
in
good.
a
Well,
while.
I'm glad to hear that. Or maybe it's more mom and dad's fault. Maybe everybody else. Again, we probably shouldn't generalise in Ireland. It's in the McCabe household.
I mean,
in
Beatrice,
Ireland.
I think now if you're listening to this and you've listened to every episode of the podcast so far, from the mouse in the dishwasher, from the budgie on top of the
Gross.
Christmas tree,
Oh, Jesus.
to dad and the burglar, the potential burglar,
poor dad.
I think we could conclude that everything is mom and dad's fault.
It's like that poem. They fuck you up, your mom and dad.
Oh, yeah.
They may not mean to, but they do.
Like that. I also like that poem. You know what? A friend of mine texted me the other day and said, "Are you and Beatrice very fancy? I feel like you use the word protagonist in almost every single episode. I would never use that word."
Oh,
I was like, I don't think protagonist is that fancy.
I
a
don't
word.
know. They're not the protagonist of my life.
That's your truth.
Well, hold on. I'd like to go back to that poetry thing, though.
I was just about to say, you're always the one who's like, it's like that poem. It's like that play.
Well,
And I've got the English degree. I just don't brag about it like you do.
I don't have an English degree.
Yeah,
That's
you
why
just-
I'm overcompensating.
Yeah, you've got an inferiority complex.
You're
'cause I
right.
do.
Thanks for that. Well,
Welcome.
I subscribed to a poetry.
Oh, I
Magazine.
subscribe to a poem of the day.
Oh, well, I subscribe to a poetry magazine. Do you pay for it?
No.
Well, I actually pay for it to support poets. Anyway, I got one the other day, but as I was reading out these things to my... So basically this all stemmed from Bo was doing a poetry module in kindergarten, right? And you can imagine...
So you're not in first grade?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, great parenting, Beatrice. Do go on.
Yeah, that along with forgetting Fox's birthday. Good job. So anyway, he's doing poetry, and I mean the explanation was, you know, you can imagine anything can be a poem, but then like it was pretty rote when they came back with,
Oh yeah, it rhymes.
yes, or and then they were also kind of going, you can write them on any sentence you want, like you can put them on any line you want. It was hot and cold. I'm like, okay, I don't know that. Like, I feel like there's more sort of meaning behind how people phrase out their poetry and stuff.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
fine. So we were reading poems, and there was one he liked, which was, oh, well, I can't remember, but a very funny one anyway, about a two-liner about a hedgehog, right? So that was great. And then as we were getting into this, we were spending the whole evening reading poems and going through poetry and all this kind of stuff. And then I read out, isn't it who is it writes that? Whose poem is that? The one they fuck you up, your mom and dad?
Oh, no idea.
Well, let me tell you, that was the end of the evening. Mom, this bad language is inappropriate. I'm like, oh.
Bo said this.
Yeah.
He's right.
Wow.
I'm
like,
like,
it's poetry, it's art.
to your children.
It's art.
So is pornography. You wouldn't be showing it to your 6-year-old.
Philip Larkin. What? Who says pornography is art?
That'll be a whole episode now. Is pornography art?
It's pornography art. Well, anyway.
Not the porn that
Philip
Barbie and
Larkin,
Ken watch.
This be the verse. Anyway, it was brilliant. But then, I mean, they didn't really get it. Then I started reading Seamus Heaney, and Don was like, this is depressing. So we
Seamus
stopped.
Heaney is a bit depressing, but I like
That's-
the one about digging.
I love that one, yeah. And but of course you do, because you're a writer. But the other really sad one is the one
I
that
just
he
think
wrote
I like it
about
because I like potatoes.
between my forefinger and my thumb. It's about digging with a pen. It's about digging into your like.
Yeah, but my father digging. I look down, like the father's digging the potatoes, and then he's in the room and he's using it as an allegory. Listen, I know my Seamus Heaney.
Well, what about the one where he writes? What's the one called where he writes about his going to the funeral of his dead?
No, sorry,
brother?
I only know one Seamus Heaney, and that's it.
It's so sad. I can't read it without crying. It's just like that other one that I can't read without crying. So I mean, I shouldn't be reading them, but every now and then when I want to cry, I read them.
You know what I would like for the show notes? I'd like you to write an exhaustive list of things that you cannot read, watch, listen to, or look at without crying?
Well, I can't watch A Quiet Place because I'm probably going to cry.
Okay,
I can't watch.
Okay, but like they have to be things that you have read or seen.
No,
or
like I'm
listened to.
avoiding lots of things. Manchester by the Sea because like I'm going to be crying.
Oh. Oh my God. I would actually, like a good way to torture you would be to just strap you down and make you watch Manchester by the
Yeah, but
Sea.
you know what I thought recently? I was like, why am I suddenly avoiding crying? I feel like my teenage self would be like, this is going to make me cry and sit down and immediately like watch it and
Yeah,
cry.
I used
Whereas-
to love a good cry.
Yeah, whereas now I'm like constantly avoiding those emotions because I'm just too exhausted to be
I was
indulging
just about
them.
to say, I think it's really exhausting, and then I always get a really bad headache afterwards as
Yeah,
well.
but
There's
I
nothing
just-
enjoyable about it anymore.
But does that make me like a less well-rounded person than my teenage self, which is
Beatrice,
terrifying?
you still cry plenty. I really wouldn't worry.
I barely cried at that last episode of Handmaid's Tale. I
thought you were saving it to watch it with me.
No, I haven't watched that one. The one before it. I pressed my fingers up against my eyeballs. You know that feeling you get when you're about to cry? My eyeballs hurt so badly as like they pinprick with pain before the tears come.
Maybe you do need to watch Manchester by the Sea. It sounds like you're having a blockage. You need to let it out. Oh my God, I bawled my head off that episode.
Oh.
And I don't particularly care about, like, no spoilers, but I don't care about Luke. I don't care about June. I care about Moira and I care about the children ish. And like, I was crying my head off.
Oh, do you know what I was just thinking though? Now I'm about going to look up a picture. But that actually brings us back nicely to Barbie because as I sent you that picture the other day of me with my mouth slightly open, how can June, Elizabeth Moss, just spend her, like, how can June / every model in a magazine ever kind of hang out with their mouths slightly open? Like, what is it that I'm doing wrong? I look totally ridiculous with my mouth half open. You know that?
I must show you a photo. So an Irish influencer I follow put up a photo of herself like looking very glam, again with her mouth half open, and I tried to imitate it and sent it to my friends Kirsty and Eving, and let me tell you, I look like I've just had a stroke.
But like Barbie, actually here, Barbie, yeah, well maybe she's smiling. She has her mouth slightly open.
Show me.
There's like teeth on view.
Oh, well, yeah, I think she's smiling, Beatrice.
Is she?
I mean, ish.
But I feel like the ones that I used to have just had like a mild open mouth. You know, maybe that this is.
You know what? That's actually what I was going to say about Sindy. Cindy's been redesigned, so it's not even like. Because I've thought like maybe I should buy Beatrice to Sindy. She'd love it. And I'm like, the new Cindy's aren't as cute as the
They're
old
still
Cindys.
Cindy's.
I think so. God, now I'm like,
I thought Sindy was
Look it up.
discontinued.
no, I think you can still buy Cindy's.
Was Sindy never with a C? Now that I think about it, now that I've made
I
that
think
statement,
it was with a C.
I feel like at one point maybe I thought it was, and then I realised it wasn't.
Is Cindy still made? Yeah. Availability 1963 to present.
What?
Well, it seems to be only on
Oh
eBay.
no,
though.
this Sindy looks just like Barbie. I'm not into this. Look at
Yeah.
that Sindy. She looks just like Barbie.
I think that is Barbie.
Oh. It says Sindy. Well, I mean, I suppose that's just a piece. That's just a sign. It could be a sign behind
maybe
a Barbie.
that is Cindy. I think
New
that looks...
Sindy doll goes on sale with realistic body shape.
No,
may I
think-
say that
think-
does not
no,
look
I
like
think
a
that's
realistic
a photo of
body
Barbie
shape.
to show the unrealistic body shape.
Realistic body shape and trainers. Well, this is 2016. Let's see.
This is top class podcast
I'm sorry.
stuff now.
Is this actually Sindy? Because
No, I think this might be Cindy. That's realistic to me. Actually,
That's
my head
Cindy.
is that big.
yeah, my head is that big too. Can't find a hat to wear. Although it's not realistic
My
because
boobs are not that perky.
well, it's not realistic because I'm also not good at ballet, so I wouldn't be wearing that outfit.
Oh my God, her feet are tiny. Anyway, listen, it's beside the point. I'd love to know people's experiences, loves, hates with Barbies, Cindy's, and also how do you feel about giving them to your kids? Like, am I just being really lazy by being like, oh, if my kid wanted to, like,
Excuse me, you never asked me. Here's how I would feel
oh, sorry, tell me.
if I knew I was
Maybe I
having.
didn't want to know. I don't care.
Oh, okay.
No, go on, tell me.
I would have a Sindy waiting in the crib for my baby, a Sindy or a Barbie waiting in the crib to begin a lifelong love of Barbie Cindy's, because all I would like to do, actually right now, I would quite happily, if I had somebody in the room with me to play with it, maybe you, maybe a child. I'm now wishing I had bought that hair salon because I would be playing Sindy all day long. And let me tell you, the only other toy I like to play with my kids is A, Lego, and B, Corey Carson, because it has a house.
So cute.
And it's like a play set. I like a good play set.
I think that'd be creepy anyway, Cindy in the crib.
I mean, I would just have the Sindy
I know, you'd
ready
have the Cindy
to give
ready,
to the
ready
child.
and waiting, yeah.
I'd be like, you're here. Cut that cord. Here's your Sindy.
But hang on. So have you ever tried to get your kids interested in Cindy's and Barbies? Because I distinctly remember when I had you those Cindy's, you were like, put them away when Bo wanted to play with them.
Absolutely not. These are historical items. These are for my archive. These are going to be donated to like Imma in the future, wherever things go like that.
When I become a famous hairstylist.
What?
They'll really want to
When
become
you
a famous
hairstylist, as if
They'll be
in
like,
the future.
these are the first attempts Rosemary made at cutting a Vidal Sassoon bob.
No, in the future, I'm going to give them all this. I'm going to be like, when you're famous, I'll be like, she was actually always insane. This is what she did back in the day. She used
It's
to
just the way
torment.
Mom keeps threatening to give things to the Little Museum of Dublin. I'm like, I really don't think they're going to want that, Mom.
She's trying to give things like baptismal dresses and stuff.
Christening robes, yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Good one.
But like, I mean, seeing what we took down from the attic that Mom had put away for posterity does make me worry. Honestly, Beatrice was... Anyway, listen, that's a story for another day. Thank you all so much for listening to Not Without My Sister. You can get us on Instagram at Not Without My Sister, individually at Rosemary McCabe and Beatrice McCabe. You can email us, notwithoutmysis@gmail.com. Check out the website, notwithoutmysis.com. We're on YouTube. And as I mentioned, you can support us on Patreon from $5 a month, patreon.com/notwithoutmysister for an extra bonus midi-sode, longer than a mini, shorter than a maxi, every Friday. Thanks for listening. Bye. Not Without My Sister is produced by Liam Garrity, sound and original music by Don Kirkland, and our original illustration is by Lindsay Nielsen.
Not Without My Sister is a member of The Warren.
As is our podcast, The Critter Shed.
For more great podcasts, hop along to thewarren.ie.